Hey guys, welcome back to Just Me and a Mom podcast. And today is, I can never remember what episode it is. Sad, but true. But I do know it's the second episode of the Mama's Mental Health series because for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but this is the second week, we're focusing on mom's mental health. And so last week, it's episode 32. It came to me mid-sentence that it's episode 32 that we're on. But anyways, so last week we talked a lot about, what did we talk about last week? The different stages of mental health throughout your pregnancy and through afterbirth, and just some things that you just kind of maybe things that could possibly happen during your pregnancy, like the different types of anxieties and depressions. But some things I forgot to mention was baby blues. I totally forgot to mention baby blues. And what baby blues is just just kind of a mild case of postpartum. It happens to most women, about 70 to 80% of women it'll happen to. After you have the baby, you'll feel a little sad, just because you're just tired, and now you have this whole new responsibility and you're worked up and your hormones are all messed up, you're chemically imbalanced, and it's very normal. Baby blues is more so normal. You're just not excited about your baby, and I definitely remember feeling not excited, just like my body just went through this my whole world went through this entire transformation, and I just didn't, I was just it's just God picked me up, tumbled me all around, and placed me back on earth, but now I'm super dizzy and I can't get it back together. So that's what I kind of felt like when after the baby came. But I was so prepared because I had gone through depression during my pregnancy. I knew what to look for, I knew what the signs were, so I was really prepared to knock out depression in case it did happen to me. But I definitely remember having baby blues and just feeling it's whatever, I could just use a nap and some cake would be great. So I just remember feeling like that. So that's basically baby blues. A lot of the times, 15 to 20% of the time, it does turn into postpartum depression. And it can be, a lot of the times, I don't want to say a lot of times, I don't know, I didn't really look up the numbers, but the baby blues turns into the postpartum sometimes because it wasn't taken as seriously as it should have been, and the thoughts and feelings that you were having kind of grew into now I'm full on depressed. And another thing I forgot to mention in last week's episode, mainly because I only have 15 minutes and I had a lot to say. But you can actually go through depression because you stop breastfeeding. I didn't know this either. My friend told me this because she went through a similar thing. She stopped breastfeeding and she didn't know what was going on with her body. She just kept feeling really sick, really achy, just couldn't get out of bed, just really migraine-y, just not herself, So after going to different doctors, she finally figured out hey, this is what's going on with me. I'm going through depression. It has a name, and she told me, and I tried to look it up, but it just kept coming up depression during breastfeeding, and I was just okay, that's not helpful. I'm going to try to figure out the name and put it in the description. But you can totally go through depression after you finish breastfeeding, mainly because of the chemical imbalance that your body is going through. Your body was helping support another human being's life, and now it's no longer doing that, so your body can be overworking itself because it's trying to give this person something, but you're no longer giving this person like the nutrients that it needs. So now your body's all out of whack, because now it's like, am I keeping this to myself, or like, what am I doing now? And then mentally too, like you're thinking like, oh no, I stopped breastfeeding. Now what's my baby going to do for nutrients, or like what's happening? You know, you can go through those whole, like all of these emotions, just from just by stopping breastfeeding, and you never even know like what, you know, why this even happened. And so today we're going to talk about a lot of the symptoms of these mental challenges, of these mental illnesses, to help you recognize maybe if this is something that you're going through. I know one of my biggest problems was just recognizing it. And, you know, just like I was in kind of like denial, like, no, like that couldn't even be close to what I'm going through. It just was never an option. I was just always kind of just like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Or just like, sometimes you don't even think anything's wrong. You're just like, I'm just sad and I'll be fine. Or like, I'm just upset that I'm pregnant. I'm just upset that I'm sick. I'm just like having these thoughts because, you know, anything would be better than being me right now. Or, you know, you think it's just like, I'm upset. Like I'm just a normal upset person. And then I talked to someone, and then they really said to me, like, it's really sounds like these are symptoms of depression. And I was just like, what? That's crazy. Like, me? No, I can never be depressed. About what? Like, I'm so, like, the thing is because I'm happy all the time. Like, I'm always happy. I'm always, like, smiling, talking, social, blah, blah, blah. And for me, like, to be sad is, like, it was funny because I was just like, oh, that's not an option. But, like, I'm always happy. So for me to be like, no, that's not an option. For somebody who's always happy to be sad, you know, for me to think like nothing's wrong, you know, or maybe you don't. I probably confused you. But it's just, it was crazy to me to think like, why haven't I thought of that? You know, why was that not in like, why was I not prepared for that? Mainly because you only hear about postpartum and like that being such a huge thing. You don't hear about depression in other forms. And, or in other cases, or in just in other like realms. You just look out for postpartum depression, and that's just, you know, what you're told to look out for. Granted, it is the most common, but there could be other signs of other things going on, especially during different times. And, you know, for me, it did help talking to people. I wasn't shy about, you know, telling people what I was going through and saying like, I feel like I'm really sad. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, or just like expressing my concerns. And then by doing that, that helped people to say like, hey, you need to go talk to somebody, or, hey, this is probably what you're going through, or, hey, like, this is not normal. So I think like vocalizing your feelings and things that are going on in your head will definitely help to, you know, kind of zero in on the things that you may be experiencing, especially like the symptoms. Like if you're like really irritable, that was a big one. You're impatient, your anxiety is not like just your normal anxiety, but it's like on 10, like you're just, you're having like mood changes, you can't concentrate at work, you can't sleep, you can't sleep. That's what I was going to say, because you can't, I was going to say you can't get out of bed, but then I started laughing because I was just like, you can't sleep, but you can't get out of bed. It's not really funny, but in my head, it's like kind of like, oh, it's funny. You should just sleep. But I'm just weird. Stop. But yeah, so like you can't sleep and you can't get out of bed. It's just like, what are you supposed to do? And and at this point you don't know what's wrong. Your body's aching, but you just think it's because you're pregnant. And like, no, your body is like really hurting. I've heard women say like, if my body felt like it was on fire from like, and it's literally like all in your head. And you just don't understand how this could be happening or why these thoughts, like to even think that like not living anymore would be easier than all of the things that I'm going through. Like I would just rather just not live. And just thinking that that's normal, it's not. I mean, I think out of this episode, I want us to really be able to vocalize exactly what we're feeling to whoever, because we don't even know this person may be able to help us. And even just having someone to talk to, and try to pick the right people to talk to. But when you're going through something like this, an ear is an ear, and I would let it out on somebody rather than nobody. But just get it out, get the symptoms out. Just like verbalize it and just say, I really wanted to hurt myself today. But you don't, and I get the concern. It's just like, you don't want somebody to put you in like a mental ward. Like, trust me, they're not. And you don't know that these things are so common, but when you tell somebody else, it's just like, oh my God, my friend went through that. Or, oh my God, I went through that. Or, oh my God, my mom's cousin. Or like, it's like, you're not the only one. So you verbalizing these things is not going to shock anyone. It's just shocking you because you're actually going through it and dealing with it. And it's something that's foreign to you. But if you were to tell somebody, I promise you, they'd be like, they know someone who's gone through it, or even somebody who's probably gone through it, and you're just like, no, in denial. Like I was like, no, it could be me, never me. Me? No. Like, I promise you, I was just like, oh my God, like me being depressed. Because remember, I don't know if you listened to the last episode, I talk about how like I didn't even believe depression was a real thing. And I was just like, I don't understand how people could just not be happy. But it is so possible. You just don't understand until it happens to you. And I just want you to understand that these things are normal. They do happen, and they do have treatment for you. There is help out there for you. Even if it's just verbalizing to a friend, the next steps would be, obviously, you need to find somebody to talk to. And in the next episode, I'm going to talk about more so about like treatment and how to get help, where to find help, and talk about, how to find support. And if you are a friend of somebody who's going through these things, how to help support them. Because when you're going through depression, there's certain things you want to hear, and there's certain things you don't want to hear, or there's things that you just don't want to hear, and you just need somebody to just sit there and just listen to you, what you're going through, and just vent and just get it all out. And then that person can just be there to just help you pick up the pieces and try to put the puzzle back together, but just be that silent comfort that you need, not necessarily that, oh, I need advice, or like, moms, we hate advice. Like, just zip it. But that's for next episode, because I'm running out of time. As always, I only got 15 minutes, guys. Only got 15 minutes. But yeah, so basically just know that from this episode is what I want you to know, just some of like the symptoms of what you're going through, and just expressing those symptoms for someone to hear, and then that'll help you even more. Trust me, you're not crazy. They're not going to put you in a mental ward. They're not going to take your baby. They're not going to do anything. They're going to help you, okay? Yeah, and that's all I got. Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, I hope you guys got a lot from this episode. Next week, all about treatment and how to get help and support. So I hope you guys definitely tune in for that. And thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.